It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside.
As the myth goes, after looking at the cave paintings of Lascaux in France, Picasso responded by saying, "We have invented nothing." Most likely in French. But even if he didn't, the point remains, what is our art? Maybe, among other things, it can be a noble attempt to rearrange our raw materials of experiences, of hopes and brokenness, into stories that don't just echo in our hearts because they're beautiful. They redeem them because they're true. The redeeming hope of truth, beauty, freedom, love. Really? From a jukebox musical replete with repurposed pop songs etched into our pop culture's pop subconscious? Pop, yeah.
We should be lovers.
We can't do that.
Welcome to Mundy on Monday, where I am long on thoughts but short on time. Since 1999's Saturday Night Fever, the number of jukebox musicals to open or set to open on Broadway by the end of 2019 is no less than 34. But who's counting? And one of the latest, near and dear to my jukebox heart, Moulin Rouge, the musical. Second part's probably redundant at this point. The Citizen Kane of jukebox musicals. Actually, that was how the late film critic Andrew Saris described the Beatles film A Hard Day's Night, which I find particularly interesting in that before the Beatles as a whole, much of British and American pop music germinated and sprang not from the bands, but rather directly from the Broadway stage or movie musicals.
The next song we like to sing now is one which is a bit slower. This is from the show The Music Man.
No, I never heard them at all till there was you.
Yikes, down the tangential rabbit hole already. So, Moulin Rouge, the musical, where purposeful anachronistic earworms pull present-day culture through pop wormholes back to the emotional experience of fantastical fantasy as real as the Montmartre Quarter of Paris. In other words, an attempt to experience right now the rush of the late 1800s artistic budding bohemia butting up against the realities of truth, beauty, freedom, love, lived out in a fearful, fighting, broken, and breaking world. Or, in other words, the test of telling one of the simplest, most enduring stories in one of the most elaborate, spectacular ways possible.
Spectacular, spectacular, no words in the vernacular. Can't describe this great event, you'll be done with wonderment.
Psychologically speaking, if familiarity breeds likeness, and pop music is meant to become familiar, then the strands of strains holding together the simplest of plots is already set to deliver. But that's what makes us nervous. Especially for those of us who may have been enraptured and melodically changed by the 2001 film, listening to that soundtrack until its familiarity bred a likeness that grew up to be a precious fondness. Too late for a personal TMI spoiler alert? Yes. We're in the theater, and in beautiful contrast to the dilapidated foreboding set design of the 2011 Follies revival, the rich red, sparkling lights covering every inch of the space, and large windmill, even larger elephant, l'amour sign, pick up on the modern-day trend of encompassing the audience, be it with meat pies or comets, and invite us to forget all our troubles. Oddly, one of the few songs in our pop culture canon not appearing in this show. But was it good? Not to be too loose with my trek, but holy moly was it ever. I want to go back now. Not only were our leads, Karen and Aaron, easy to root for and listen to, but even where the absinthe and confetti may have splashed out of place, it was fun, glorious fun, both protecting that precious fondness I mentioned, as well as slyly introducing on-point new familiarity. Now, no spoilers, but I did feel there were a couple story elements and moments that deflated tension and ultimately lowered some stakes, but oops. However, special shout out to Act 2's opening number, and of course, the elephant medley. Kleenex, please. Those are not bohemian prices. But let's face it, who doesn't love a tragedy protected inside of a party? But I'm not just here to review it, I want to look underneath it. That's what I do. So, look, we all know that one reason we crave this story, much like its spiritual cousin, the artistically successful Hades town, Orpheus is always in fashion, is because we all want what Nat King Cole's Nature Boy tells us. To love and be loved in return. And in that waiting to know if we are, that's the tension, the fear, the drama, the noble sadness. But that may be simply because our imagination has been telling this story in the wrong direction. What if? And Picasso reminds us that everything you can imagine is real, that the greatest love is that we are already loved, and it is us who are loving in return. Honing this in, Mr. Rogers clarifies, We learn to smile because someone smiled at us first. Now there is security and surety and peace and the formula for redeeming our brokenness. Oh, yes, our brokenness. We experience brokenness, so we don't want that brokenness, our fears, troubles, and mistakes to just be erased. We want them to be used as the raw materials from which our noble desire at love is made truly whole. Then not only do we know we matter, but that we are loved for who we are, with nothing to prove, and thusly no way to lose it. An eternal earworm, as it were, singing its greatest love song into our hearts every day. A song we've heard before. The first song we ever heard. A song that is indeed your song. And that, Bohemia lovers, is the redeeming hope of truth, beauty, freedom, love. And the greatest of these?
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside.
And that's my Mundy. Now back to yours.
We should be lovers.
We can't do that.
Thank you so much for watching. And of course, if you like this video, please be sure to check out others where I dig under the fizz of pop. And of course, like, share, click, subscribe, kick a troll in the mouth, and all that good stuff.